all for being here, and I'd like to extend a special thanks to Dan for a beautiful facility. And can you hear me well? I'm not sure this is on.
That's not for the PDA. That's just
Okay.
That's just the radio.
No problem. You can all hear me well, I'm sure. And the folks in Washington are going to hear us well on November 22nd.
Yes.
Thank you all for being here. And I see among us at least two members of our Tea Party movement, Chip Miller and Harry Seff. Chip Murray, forgive me, Chip. And Harry Seff. And I think that it's fair to say that we are here at the inception of a new American revolution. And I know that's being talked about. You may have heard that very phrase, a second American revolution. The first American revolution, as we know, was prosecuted against King George III and his out-of-control parliament. I'm going to stay away from that microphone. It's not working. And today we have King Barack and his out-of-control Congress. I know something about being a renegade from the Britons. My mother is one of those people. I am a first-generation American on her side. And she came to this country in 1948 from recession-bound, labor-governed England. She was a lifelong conservative because she believed passionately, and still does. She has just celebrated one of her latter 80th birthdays, and she'd be very displeased if I told you which one. But she, all her life, has devoted herself to responsibility, to excellence, to earning and achieving, to investing and being charitable in her community without having the government serve as the intermediary for that. So she came to the United States from England in 1948 because she knew that in this country, our Constitution granted us unprecedented freedoms on both personal and economic levels. Those are what we celebrate together, of course. Those are what we revere. Our Constitution is the most humane and empowering document, the most humane and empowering system of government ever devised, which is why, of course, this country is the greatest democracy that history has ever known. And that American exceptionalism is the bedrock of my life. It is the signal blessing of my life, and I would submit that you would all agree it's the signal blessing of all of our lives, beyond our loving families, of course. And that is the foundation of this campaign, and I intend, with you, to preserve and promote the Constitution, to preserve and promote the freedoms and the empowerment of the citizens that our Constitution has provided to us for generations to come. We have a congressman now, John Hall, who has voted for every spending bill that has crossed his desk, including most recently, as of yesterday, he voted for a $300 billion extension of the national debt ceiling. Essentially, as Minority Leader Bader has said, that's a $300 billion blank check to the government. That's your money. That's your freedom. That's your power. That's what we oppose, of course. John Hall voted it in. We are going to vote him out. We can think about the stimulus packages that came before. They just voted in fact, Stimulus 3 or Sun Stimulus. That's another set of expenditures by our government, by the government confiscating what you have earned and deciding to distribute it as the government sees fit, that our congressman has voted in, and we are going to vote him out. When we look at energy policy, which affects every citizen in the United States, I think especially of our farms here in Orange County, agricultural interests certainly depend on having sources of fuel that are affordable, that are inexpensive. The cap and tax, so-called cap and trade program, for which our congressman voted, would make those fuels, would make our farms, would make our jobs in peril. They would put them in peril. He voted for cap and trade. He voted for cap and tax. He voted it in. We're going to vote him out. Think about your health care course. Everybody's talking about it now. I am a physician. Dr. Mother Businesswoman, I have run a small business. That was my first practice, actually. It was a solo practice that I started in Kisco, and grew it over the course of 7 years. And I had to meet a payroll and pay my taxes and invest capital in my business and make sure that the investments achieved returns. So I know very well what it's like to run a small business, and of course I know what it's like to deliver care to patients, and I know what it's like to be a patient. I've been a patient as well. I'm a mother. I have 2 sons who are now 16 and 18 years old. Just put a little aside in there to explain our little tagline. Both my sons, I'm happy to say, are staunch Republicans. Very and we worry about what's going to happen to that generation. We worry about their future. We worry about what this health care bill, whatever the Congress may end up passing, will do to their future, will do to our future for the rest of our natural lives. As we know, the Senate bill is right now in quite a bit of flux. Our Republicans in the Senate are working very hard on trying to stretch out the time to the vote so that perhaps the entire thing will fade away until next year when the Democrats will be too afraid to vote it in. Thank goodness. But in the meantime, we know that the conscience of our representatives in Congress, because when the House came up with its version of nationalizing health care, which included a public option, Congressman Hall voted it in. He voted in those layers of bureaucracy. He voted in the deprivation of your choice, the detriment to the quality of the health care that you appreciate and that you deserve. He voted against the power of our vigorous free market to make things right for the consumers who are empowered to make choices. He voted all of those out. We're going to vote him out. I want to put in a word of admiration to all of you as Orange County Republicans and Conservatives. As you know, even better than I, and I'm so delighted to have Frank here and Mike here. You in Orange County voted a substantial majority for the, and Al, of course, I'm delighted that you're here too, Al. I didn't mean to miss you. My gosh. We have pictures together on the website. But Zip would never talk to me again. That's the calf. I was feeding Al, so Al was wonderful about that. But in any case, it is just an extraordinary achievement, and congratulations to all of you, candidates, legislators, and Republicans and conservatives in Orange County alike, for having such a commanding victory in last November's election. Your heart, your will, your power is what's going to win Orange County for all of us in November 2010. And I, as your candidate, thank you. And I look forward to working with you. I'm very excited about this. We are going to take back this district, and we're going to take back this Congress.